My guest today is in center of no controversy. She is not a politician. She is not a business leader. She is not a sportswoman, but a very, very important guest. I'm joined by a person who grew up in Hollywood. Today she resides in the foothills of Himalayas in Rishikesh. Joining me on the podcast is Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati. Sadhvi Saraswati, thank you for joining me. My first question to you would be, I was actually fascinated reading your story. The flight you took, it was supposed to be an adventurous trip to India. What made you stay here in Rishikesh or come back to Rishikesh?
This is really the power of our Sanatan Shakti, Bhartiya Sanskriti ki Shakti, Ganga ki Shakti. Because when I came to India, I had no idea about India. I was 25, I had grown up in Hollywood. I had everything that we're told you need to be happy.
Correct.
The privilege, the prosperity, the opportunity, the education, etc. We weren't very happy, of course, because we didn't have that anchoring and grounding spiritually, but I didn't know that. Because I grew up in a culture where we're taught to ask, what for me? And when we go through life trying to acquire and attain more and more, we may get more, but we don't actually feel more. We don't live as more. We don't experience more. We just keep grabbing and getting. And so when I came to India, it came on the airplane, as you said, on an adventure trip, but I thought it was just going to be a few months. I thought it was just one trip in the midst of my PhD program. I loved to travel. I agreed to come only because I was a very strict vegetarian. Otherwise, I knew nothing about India at all. But this is the power of this country. It is the power of Bharat Ma. It is the power of Ganga, of Guru, of this Sanskriti. It grabbed me. I stood on the banks of Ganga in Rishikesh. And in that moment, I knew that I had come home. And my life was transformed in that moment. And I looked around me. And I looked at the children. And I looked at the people. And I looked at people who had nothing. By my Western standards, they had nothing. But they were so happy. Whereas all these people I had grown up with had everything. But they were unhappy. My guru, His Holiness Puja Swami Chidananda Saraswati Ji Maharaj, he always says, "Sab kuch set, lekin swayam upset." And like that was
Sab kuch set, lekin swayam upset.
And that was the world that I came from. Everyone had everything set. All of the different sets.
It looked like that everything is set, perfect, going.
Looked like it. We owned them, the entertainment sets, the TV sets, the china sets, the jewelry sets. But inside us was just upset. And when I came, I looked around and I realized here's all these people who seem to have nothing. But they are so much happier than the people I grew up with, because what they have is a connection to the divine, to culture, to their heritage, their roots. Yes.
I get what you're saying. I have been to Rishikesh myself on a couple of occasions, like probably twice a year maybe. But let me take you back to Stanford.
Sure.
And when a young Stanford graduate, probably one of the best colleges in the world, the best places to study with a brilliant career ahead, what was the reaction like? How it was, how you managed to convince your family that I want to leave this and I am going for a trip to India? That in itself would have been a discussion that would not have been easy.
The trip was no problem, because I was an avid traveler. I had traveled my entire life. First with my parents, then on my own with friends. I had traveled throughout Europe, England, South America, across the US. So taking a trip to India, no problem. The problem arose when I had this experience of knowing that I was home, of knowing that I was handed something that was of such value and so much more value than the world that I was running after. I always share, when I'm on stages, people will introduce me by saying sometimes, कि वो सब कुछ छोड़ दिया. And I always say, कि जो मैंने छोड़ा, उसमें कोई दम नहीं है. लेकिन जो मैंने प्राप्त किया, जो मुझको मिला है, वो किसी से कम नहीं है. And that's the power of this Sanatan Dharma, of this Sanskriti, of this land, of this power. So when I realized I was home and I wanted to stay, that's when naturally it was very difficult to convince parents, convince family, convince everyone I knew. But the truth is a magnet. And if you live the truth, you don't have to shove it down people's throats. When you live that truth, you become a light. That's when we talk about Bharat being the Vishwa Guru, the bringer of light, the remover of darkness. It's not that we have to shove that light down people's throats. As we live it, as we shine that light of ahimsa, of satya, of ekta, of sustainability, that light is in and of itself a magnet. And it draws people. And we see every day so many people coming from all over the world at Parmarth Niketan. Our International Yoga Festival is just about to start. Every year in March we host it. And we have people of almost 100 countries, sometimes more than 100 countries. Thousands of people who come to the banks of Ganga, still in a day and age where you can learn everything you want on YouTube.
Yes.
You used to be able to say, okay, maybe आना है सीखने के लिए. Now, everything is available
on
your phone, in your hand, in your pocket. But more and more people are coming every year because they're looking not just for a teaching, but they're looking for a touch and a transformation. And that power of spirituality, of Sanatan, is actually something that is drawing people from all over the world. We are searching. We're searching for answers. We're searching for happiness. We're searching for peace. We're searching for wellness in our bodies, in our minds, in our relationships, in our lives. And there are no answers in the West. It's like, ye goli khao, ya or paisa kamao. People keep doing it, goli khate rahe, and we are nowhere.
Yeah.
But
you have
here in India, exactly.
Take medicines.
Here in India, the answers are there. Whether you look at it through yoga, through meditation, through mantra, through Ayurveda, through our shastras, the teachings, the yogis, the saints, the rishis. And the beautiful thing is, it's for everyone. There's nothing that says you can only benefit from the Bhagavad Gita if you self-identify as Hindu, or if you were born on the soil of Bharat. Sab ke liye. There's nothing that says, you have to be Indian or be Hindu to benefit. Sanatan ka matlab sada ke liye, sab ke liye.
Sanatan ka matlab sada ke liye, sab ke liye. Tell me about, I will take you back to, I think 1996 is when you first came to Rishikesh. What was the reaction you straight away headed to Parmarth Ashram?
So, at that time, there was no Google.
True.
We had a very thick Lonely Planet guidebook.
Yes,
And I opened the guidebook in Delhi. We had no idea where we were going to go at all in India, but I opened the guidebook and I said, Rishikesh, just like that. Okay. And in Rishikesh, where it listed all the hotels, basically they all sound the same. Rishikesh is a holy city. They're all vegetarian places. But there was one hotel called the Green Hotel. And I was an avid environmentalist already. I had organized the first Earth Day celebration at Stanford. Okay. And so mujhe laga ki Green Hotel will be some kind of eco-friendly resort, yeah, something like that. I didn't realize that it was named that just because their walls were painted green. But this is grace. This is destiny. Because at that time, the Green Hotel was the only hotel in the Swarg Ashram area of Rishikesh where Parmarth Niketan is. All the other hotels at that time were up by Lakshman Jula or in the downtown Rishikesh side. Swarg Ashram was only ashrams. Parmarth Niketan, Gita Bhavan, Kali Kambli Trust, Vanprasht, Swarg Ashram. That one hotel, Green Hotel. But God needed me to be there. So I said, let's stay at the Green Hotel. Hotel may I? We drop our bags. And I said, I'm going to put my feet in the river. And I walk from the Green Hotel to Ganga. And I stand on the banks of Ganga. I didn't even know the river was holy. But that's the power of Ganga. Jante hue, na jante hue. Her power is so strong. Mere dil ko khinch liya. It grabbed me. And as I stood there, I knew this is home. I have come home. I have come home to the lap of the mother. Mother Ganga, Mother Bharat, and the truth of me. And it was the most extraordinary, transformative experience that you can imagine. And that's when my life changed. So I didn't know in advance, but then about a week later, I was walking through Parmarth Niketan.
Okay.
And I was using it only as a pathway because it was the cleanest and the most beautiful way of getting from the Green Hotel down to the banks of Ganga. And it was so beautiful and it was so clean and it was just my pathway between the river and the hotel as I was having these divine experiences on the river every day. And one day as I'm walking through Parmarth Niketan, I heard a voice. Now remember, I was a scientist, I was a PhD student in neurology.
Neuropsychology.
Exactly, I was not a mystic, I was not someone who heard voices, but I heard a voice. And the voice said, you must stay here. And I looked around.
There's no one.
And there was no one. And so I ignored the voice. And I kept walking. And then I heard it again. And again I looked around. And again there was no one. But finally I realized, oh my God, this is a divine voice. And this is the way that grace works in our lives. If we are open and we are willing, grace takes us and shows us the way. This is why I always say, grace doesn't discriminate. There's no prerequisites.
True.
There's nothing that you need to do, no checklist you have to tick off to be worthy of grace. Maine kabhi koi sadhana nahi kiya. I didn't even know what meditation was.
Does success is happiness? Is
No.
success happiness?
Well, let me go back. It depends what your definition of success is. If your definition of success is paisa, power, prestige, popularity, then absolutely not. Not only is success not happiness, but running after success, after paisa, after power, after prestige, will actually steal your happiness. Because when we run after something, what message does it tell us? I don't have it.
True.
If I say, I need this, iska matlab hai ki mujh mein kuch kami hai. There's something lacking in me. Real happiness, from what I've seen, is that sacred, divine connection in which we realize कि मैं तो पहले से पूर्ण हूँ. I am one with the divine. It's why our rishis and our sages taught us. Tattvamasi, aham brahmasmi. You are not separate from the supreme reality, not separate from the creator or the creation. That's real happiness. And real success is that realization. Otherwise, what you see all over the world is we are running after external success that is stealing our mental health, stealing our physical health, emptying our wallets and pocketbooks or bank accounts, making us work insane number of hours. So we don't have time to meditate, don't have time to do yoga, don't have time to go to the mandir, don't have time to be with our family, don't have time to be in nature, don't have time to be appreciating beautiful music, art, don't have time to be doing seva that we actually know is not only one of the most powerful spiritual practices, but is actually one of the best ways to find happiness in life. Now science, psychological research, medical research is actually beginning to catch up to what our sages and rishis told us thousands of years ago. You want to be happy? Serve others. You want to be happy? Be grateful. You want to be happy? Need less. Share more. Stop asking what for me and start asking what through me. Stop focusing on being bara and start focusing on being bariya. That shift in focus.
In our daily routine, chasing dreams, we are in a world of AI now.
Yes.
Everything is now going towards super intelligence and artificial intelligence, yes. And God knows what else is being created.
Yes.
There's no time to pause and stop. What will you tell to all those people who are some hugely successful, some moderately successful, some still chasing success? Like, where do we stop?
What I would say is, I've seen that world. I grew up, I spent the first 25 years of my life surrounded by people who had everything. And what I can tell you, God have say 200%, and I still keep going back. So it's not just, oh, that was the truth 30 years ago. Even after moving to India now 30 years ago, I keep going. I'm traveling all over the world, seeing everything. There's no amount of money, of power, of prestige. There's no possessions that we can buy that actually bring happiness, but what it does is it steals our happiness because it keeps us away. As you say, we have no time. Well, we have to make time. We make time based on what our priorities are. I don't have time to meditate, but I have time to read everything in every WhatsApp group that I'm part of. I don't have time to do yoga, but I have time to watch TikTok videos, Instagram videos, to tweet all day long. What are our priorities? If for every 5 times we paid attention to our scroll, if even one time we paid attention to our soul, I'm not saying don't scroll, but I'm saying with the scroll, we have to remember soul. With our external success, we have to actually ask ourselves, what is the purpose of it all? It's like the Dalai Lama once said so beautifully. He said, you know, you could have the most beautiful penthouse suite of the tallest building in the city. But if you are depressed, all you're going to be doing is looking for a window out of which you can jump. And this is what I've seen. And this is for me what I love so much about Bharat and about our Sanskriti, is it really is a Sanskriti that has its priorities in place. If we go back to our traditions, our sanskars, it was never about grabbing and hoarding. It was always about sharing. It was always about realizing.
And I think I will keep these questions aside. I don't think any question that this discussion, probably the paper can hold this conversation. It has completely gone into a different direction.
I'm happy to go anywhere you want, by the way.
So there are a lot of people who who in Indian culture, in Hindu, in Sanatan Dharma, there was something called like if there are different stages of life. So if I remember of Ramayans and the Mahabharatas, it basically tells you that post 60 or there is some age. I am not pretty sure right now that 60 or 70 is the age when you go to Vanaprastha. But that's a stage where you relinquish worldly life and you go in nature's lap, meditate, and go for a spiritual awakening. But in modern context, in today's era, that probably is not a very viable possible scenario. So what will you tell young people who have a 9 to 9 kind of a job these days, and they want to do certain things? They probably take some time out and do their yogas. So traveling, going to Rishikesh, or how do they stay connected with spirituality?
Yeah, beautiful. So first of all, the 4 stages of life, you'll notice they are called ashrams. We say brahmacharya ashram.
Correct.
That is the first 25 years of life. If we take lifespan to be 80 years, then they are 4
different stages.
20-year spans. If we take lifespan to be 100 years, then it's 4 ashrams of 25 years. Brahmacharya ashram is the first. That is our time to study. But brahmacharya is not just about cram for exams so you can get into a good university and then get a good job and make a bunch of money. Brahmacharya is actually studying the supreme reality, the nature of myself, the nature of the universe, the nature of existence, the nature of Brahman, so that I realize it's not just about becoming number 1 in an exam. It's not just about getting into this university so I can get this job, so I can make that money, and then at some point, finally, I will be able to rest, or I will be able to do seva, or I will be able to meditate, or I will be happy. But it's actually about studying in life also, in school also, but life also, and studying the self also. Swadhyay. Who am I? Along with mathematics, along with science, along with grammar, we study who am I? And in our traditional Gurukul system, they're sitting out under the trees. Why? Not just because they didn't have buildings, they had buildings, under the trees to connect our study with the natural world, to realize these trees give us shade, they give us oxygen, they give us fruit, reminding us of our responsibility to take care of this planet. Then we go into Grihastha ashram, which is our household stage. But again, it's also called ashram.
Correct.
It is supposed to be also a spiritual path. It's not about just make as much money as you can, have a bunch of kids, get them into a good, kindergarten so they can get into a good elementary school, so they can get into a good university. It's not just about go to the guru to pray that they get A's on their exams. So many times people come and they're like, Maharaji, aap bas aashirwad dijiyega ki bacha thoda sa acha marks milega. The prayer should be, give my child
happiness.
And the happiness that comes from knowing who they are. Yes, they should study sincerely, do the best they can, because that's what we are here on earth to do our duty. But ultimately, the highest success is knowing the truth of who they are. I get an A in math or I fail math. Either way, I'm divine. That awareness. So Grihastha ashram is also in our married life. It's not meant to be just about sensual pleasures. It's meant to be about using the path of relationships as yoga, whether with husband, with wife, with kids, with in-laws, of actually walking closer and closer to the divine. Grihastha ashram is not a hurdle on the path. It's not meant to be a stagnant time. It's actually meant to be part of our spiritual path, but a path that we walk together, a path that we walk through duty, through dharma. And then, Vanprastha ashram. Kids are grown, kids are settled, I've made money, mortgage is paid off. I've done those duties and responsibilities. Now my attention shifts into, okay, I'm now in the second half of life. Now I start to focus much more on the inner world rather than the outer world. But our spiritual practice is not meant to start at Vanprastha ashram. It's meant to start at Brahmacharya ashram, as young as we can. People ask, what is the right time to come onto a spiritual path? Right now. However old you are. If you are 8, if you are 18, if you are 80. This moment is the right moment because it's going to give you that success, that happiness in whatever phase of life you're in. And then, of course, after Vanprastha ashram, sannyasa ashram. That's the landing phase of life. Like, okay, any day now, body will be gone and only the soul is there. And if I'm going on this journey now, just with soul, don't you think I should get to know it? If you were going to go on a long journey with somebody, would you want to go on a long journey with a stranger? No. You'd want to know this person, get to know them very well. And our journey with soul is ultimately the eternal journey. So the sannyas phase of life is a phase of life that really says, you better get to know this traveling partner. Because if you are only identified as this body or this role or these relationships, you are going to find yourself very scared when the moment of death comes. Because you're going to find yourself getting onto this next journey with no one you know. So use this time to get to know your traveling companion after you leave your body. But as you say, in these days, people don't want to let go of attachments. Honestly, the only attachment that really needs to be let go of, and this is true from every phase of life, is the attachment to the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. We are so stuck in our own dramas, our own narratives. This is who I am. This is what I need. This is me. My anger, my grudges, my hurt, my betrayal, my issues, my desires, my ego, my this. And that becomes these blinders, and we cannot see. So, jo sannyas hame lena hai in this aspect of life, whatever phase of life we're in, we need to renounce the attachment to our stories. When Ganga gives moksha, it's not just mardne ke baad. Jeete hue moksha from our minds. It's not the body that's the obstacle.
There's something about river Ganga and the mountains. Like, I was pretty scared of even going to a river rafting thing. So I'll just telling you my experience. Like 3-4 years ago, we were in Rishikesh on some office trip with colleagues and all, and suddenly somebody said, "Let's jump, right, for a dip." And I was like, no. But the second I jumped, like all my fears were washed away, and I was like, oh, I won't come out. I just am enjoying here. Though I'm pretty afraid of water. So there's something about those mountains which keeps you calling. But do you think that place in itself also probably influenced your decision to...
Of course. There is such a power. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna says, of the mountains, I am the Himalayas. Of the rivers, I am Ganga. Now, all of nature is sacred. Mountains are sacred. Water is sacred. But, sochne ki baat hai. Bhagwan Krishna. I am, of all the rivers, I am Ganga. Of all the mountains, I am the Himalayas. There is a sanctity and a sacredness there. मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि हिमालय अपनी आप एक संस्कृति है, गंगा अपनी आप एक संस्कृति है. There is a power, a culture Absolutely, that is what grabbed me. I had been to so many mountains, so many rivers in the world, and I love them all. I'm a nature person. But that which grabbed me and kept me and held me now 30 years, that was the Himalayas, that was Ma Ganga, that was this Sanskriti.
I was Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati. Bhagwati in itself is goddess Durga, and Saraswati is god of education.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, who gave this name?
Ah, beautiful. So I came in 1996. I took sannyas in 2000, 4 years later. I wanted to take earlier, but my guru would not let me take earlier. He was, I was a young girl, only child, Jewish family in Hollywood. So he really wanted to make sure that I was
ready for it.
I was pakka and that I had my family's blessings. In 1998, we were in Kailash Mansarovar, and I wanted very deeply a spiritual name. And so in Kailash Mansarovar, we were there with my guru, His Holiness Puja Swami Chidanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj, the head of Parmarth Niketan, one of the world's most revered gurus, spiritual masters. With him, with Puja Mahamandaleshwar Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj, Karshni Guru Sharananji Maharaj from Ramanveti, Param Puja Sant Shri Ramesh Bhai Ojaji, Bhai Shriji, and so many saints. But I wanted this spiritual name. So in Kailash Mansarovar, they gave me this name of Bhagwati. Now at that time it was just Bhagwati. I had not taken sannyas. But then in 2000, 2 years later, when I took sannyas, and obviously when you take sannyas, they give you a whole new name. Now Saraswati is our lineage. That is the lineage that I come from. So my guru is Swami Chidanand Saraswati. His guru was Swami Dharmanand Saraswati.
Okay.
It is the lineage. My Guru Bais and Guru Bens all have Saraswati. Sadhvi something Saraswati or Swami something Saraswati.
Okay.
So Saraswati is the lineage. It comes from the Shankaracharya tradition. And it is a lineage of the Divine Mother, a lineage of wisdom, as she is the goddess of wisdom. When I took the vows of sannyas, the diksha, I had a choice. And they said, we can give you a brand new name. But I felt like I had been given this name, Bhagwati, in this sacred land of Kailash Mansarovar. If it was okay with them, I would keep that. Why have a new name? What could be better than the divine one? So they also were very happy. So Sadhvi, of course, is the title. We had a choice of either Swamini or Sadhvi. But I felt like I travel a lot internationally with people who don't speak Hindi. And it just seemed to me like Sadhvi was a lot easier to speak, to remember. Bhagwati was the given name, Saraswati was the lineage name. So that's how the whole divine blessing in the name came to me.
Okay, one message to today's youth about taking time out for spirituality, or taking time out for themselves.
Absolutely.
I think I'll just tell you, when we come out of when we start for office, we sit in our car, come out, one person takes a wrong thing or passes and we then scream.
Yes.
And we get out of our senses and that rage and keep that for the whole day, that grudge, that anger. And by the time you go back to your bed, you are exhausted.
Yes.
You have done all the wrong things that you should not be doing in the whole day.
Yes.
So that's where I think we are blessed to be in the land of Sanatan.
Yes.
Right? And there are a lot of young people who are inclined towards yoga and meditation these days. The youth today is more more awakened, you can say.
Absolutely. I saw in the Mahakumbh last year, 80% youth at our Parmarth camp in the Kumbh. flooded
with people across the globe.
Flooded with people from across the world, but so many youth. Youth are really getting connected. Yes, sorry.
So your message to people who are thinking that, okay, I will finish this and then probably start. There are a lot of people who are waiting to go and visit the Parmarth ashram, or there are many ashrams there, the Rishikesh and all these places of spirituality, Haridwar. So what will be your message to youth?
I would say, first of all, you are very blessed, very lucky. You come from a culture, from a tradition that actually has within it the keys, the tools to unlock everything in life. From your happiness and your peace, to your health, your wellness, to your highest level of success. Everything that you want is given to you in your culture, in your heritage, in your Sanskriti, in your sanskars, in this Sanatan Dharma. There's nothing in spirituality that says thou shalt not be successful. Nothing in spirituality that says thou shalt be impoverished or unemployed or not fulfill your potential. In fact, we are told and taught over and over again, stand up. This is Bhagwan Krishna's core message. Stand up. Do your duty. Fulfill your dharma fully, with sincerity, with the wholeness of your heart. But don't forget who you are. Play the role. Role in society, role in your family, role in relationships. But don't forget that you are not the role. I grew up in Hollywood, so many amazing actors and actresses, but never, ever, ever do they forget that they are not the role. You have somebody who plays a murderer in a movie, and they never, ever, ever go home and kill their families because they forgot that it was only a role. They remember, I am not the role. I am the one playing the role. In the same way, aage badho, khoob aage badho. But remember, where you succeed, it is God's grace. Where you don't succeed yet, no problem, keep trying. But don't identify as the role, as the story, because it makes you forget who you are. Aap to Paramatma ka santan hai. You are one with the divine, one with the creator, one with the creation. And that's the first and most important piece. Next most important piece, never put off that which is most important, which is your inner connection. If it means that you clock a few less hours at the office because you're meditating, you're doing yoga, you're going to the mandir, you're taking your kids for a walk in the park, you're having a home-cooked meal, so be it. You will actually be more successful in life. Success in life is not about forsaking your family, forsaking your health. Otherwise, we forsake our health to make money, then we try to use our money to get back our health. We forsake our happiness, our family connection to make money, then we try to use that money to buy back our spouses, our kids, our connection. No Diwali present, Christmas present, birthday present makes up for the lack of time, connection with them. So really, really remember that success is not about the money in your pocket. It's about the fullness of your life. So absolutely, aage badho, but remembering that the real happiness and real meaning comes from being deeply connected. A tree grows tall and strong only when its roots are deep and strong. Otherwise, as you say, somebody cuts us off in traffic and we are angry. If our roots are not deep, no matter how tall we grow, the slightest wind and we fall over. वो सहन शक्ति खत्म हो जाते हैं.
True.
Remember to take time, reconnect, people from all over the world, successful people, billionaires, huge celebrities, top people, all over the world, coming to India. Why? Because they're miserable. They're unhealthy. They're looking for answers. Yoga mein, dhyan mein, Ayurveda mein, our scriptures mein. You have that in your DNA, in your genes. Recognize that is your greatest treasure. Have it for yourself, share it with the world, and you are really the GDP of not only this country, but of the planet.
Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati ji, namaste. Thank you for giving this opportunity, and thank you for coming and giving me this opportunity to have this podcast. Really blessed.
Such a joy to be together. I am so happy to have this opportunity with you, with Republic Bodit, to connect with our Republic of Bodit and all of our community across the world.
Thank you. Pleasure was ours.
Jai Gange.
Thank you. Jai Gange.
Jai Bodit.